one more thing I want. And that is take disc the house. We're dealing with a narrative with such a heavy metaphor, such an unreliable. Yep. And I am here for it. I'm 100% here for it. Alright, let's see. Literally my only objective right now is finding the house. All I want. All I still want to do today is find the house, get in, and see that cutscene. Probably gonna play. Said she needs to bring the disc home. So I'm just assuming. Also because the disc was part of the house deal. It's shown in multiple cutscenes. Be an element of preparation. So like, has to belong. And she said she needs to. But again, the sun, we know the sun represents her son, Helios. And so she's expressing her desire to bring him home. And I don't think it only relates to the disc. I think it also relates to like it doesn't just relate to the disc. I think it also relates to metaphorically bringing her son home because she was never able to do that. That's my read on it right now, anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna somewhat speed through this, I think. Because it's been live for over 4 hours and it's take a toll mentally. What if you need to restart and go home as in beat Nemesis? Ooh, interesting. So interesting, I threw myself off a cliff. That's an interesting thought. Very interesting. What if? That would be sick. You know what would be the coolest thing ever? If you could do either of those things and it would trigger different endings. That would be wild. And like you only get to do it once. Unless you delete your save game. That would be insane. Like, no do-overs. Either you take it home or you take it Atropos home, but you're only doing one. Choose wisely. That would be wild. I don't think that's good. As a little thought experiment. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Really am. Because it is a very... cerebral. Not everyone likes watching us. Or ever. Okay. And then you add to that the high action moments. I can't actually read anything. This is staying alive. Hell of a ride. And then there's all the variation, also effect. Yeah, the basic gameplay loop is the same. I feel like, as far as, you know, smart games to stream go, this isn't one of them. If you'd like to maximize it. But I don't care, I would just want to play. Start looking. Tear them to shreds after. It has been a really cool stream. I've had like zero energy and brain fog out the wazoo for a week. This has been great. I am glad. I'm very glad if I, however small it is. Actually, it's all in faction. Oops. Say in fact, you know what? So, let's see. Oop. House. And it's available. That's it. This is what I'm here for.
This will be the last time I return.
This fucking game! Oh! The light's only on if you can go in. This fucking game, you can't just do that. She walks up to the house and she says, "This is the last time I return." Do you mean to the house? Do you mean to the whole thing? What do you mean this is the last time you return? Do you mean the house or do you mean in general? Like, oh. And why would that be the last time and why would she know? Like, what is going on? Yeah, this is where the disc is.
Mother, I'm home.
She's talking to her mom? Not her son. Mom. So do we go up? Do we go? I don't know. I'm afraid I'm gonna miss something if I go the wrong way. That looks new. I don't think I've been down there. I think that was always blocked. This was Helios's room, wasn't it? Oh, was it yours before that? It's the book.
Did I unlatch this?
It's a book on thalassophobia. Feel called out. Yeah, right? There's your obligatory die. Oh. Oh, the die has 6 sides. We've done this 6 times. are 6 biomes. The Sunface fragment has 6 shards. Sure. That's cool. I don't remember what this painting originally showed. I think the room upstairs might have been both her room and the room of Helios. And this is definitely her version.
I regret what
Because
happened. But you deserved it.
oh, something went down with her mum, huh? She had a hand in it.
We must forget to remember.
You must.
We must leave to return.
Oh. No sense, Meg.
We must die to live.
Firstly, is that a wheelchair? Oh no, my girlfriend's calling me. Sorry, guys. Just a second. Well, that was mildly inconvenient. Okay, we back. K9, are you here? I'm loving relationships with your healthy communication skills. I know, right? It's fascinating that it's bright light down here. As we get closer to it, it just goes. Yeah, that's a wheelchair. That's 100% a wheelchair. I can see a wheel, and I can see the armrests. I can't see. Fair. Probably very faint. Like, if you look into this dead center of the screen right now, I don't know if it's visible. It doesn't look too visible on stream, but like, there's a wheel smack down in the middle. I'm saying that's a wheel. Yeah, when I zoom in, I can see it kind of clearly. Right, let's see. Ah, yeah. Nailed it. Is her mother in a wheelchair? Why would you sit down in it? We're adding wheelchairs to the mix. An old wheelchair. This can't be hers.
Why did you seem so frightening when you were so much less? We were both broken.
Where are we? Outside the house. Oh god, that's the car key, isn't it? Two of them. One dead. So three. Oh. Oh. So would you agree that this one looks older, taller than this one? I know, right? Right? Not just me. Glad we agree on that. They're all looking down at the house? It looks like it's just a stone formation now. It's definitely small. Yeah, right? What are you? A globe. Melted globe. Each carried key increases chances of finding better salvage. But let's not distract from the main thing. The car key. I have to do it one more time. At the very least. I have to do it more than once if I want all the xenoglyphs for the most accurate translations. Technically, I could grab those off of a wiki if I really wanted to. But I also kind of want to hunt them down myself. There's not too many left. It's not too many left. Wait, what did they... Did it say anything else other than keys for a sedan? Antique key for a sedan. No, that's all it said. And now the house is just... Oh my god. But like, if... So hear me out on this. I may of course be completely off. I said earlier that if any part of this was real, of this whole Atropos, if any part of this was real, and the tentacle monster that dragged Selene out actually exists, and actually dragged her out at the moment of the crash when she would have drowned. If that was real, and she's here in this fictional space, sort of, between life and death, really. Because she would be drowning in her car right now, had Tentacle Monster not drawn her into this reality. if that's the case, then it makes sense to me that this is just a stone monument that vaguely looks like her house. And all this time, she's interpreted it as her house because that's what brains do. You see patterns, you see familiar things, you look at it again, try and see the shape of something familiar, right? I think if this was all purely imaginary, there is no reason for the appearance of the farmhouse to now change into a bunch of stone. This change only makes sense if at least the stone really is here. Otherwise, the house could have just disappeared, or it could have stayed but become inaccessible. But that it's now a heap of stone that resembles the shape of a house, that just makes me think, at least in some fashion, this is real. At least in some fashion, this is happening to Celine. Exactly. Exactly. She's starting to wake up. She's starting to see things for what they are. But this is flipping the earlier conception of the whole thing that Atropos was completely a metaphor. But I'm still not sure, like, this could still all be happening inside her mind. It's still possible. It's still possible as well, and there's like so many ways this could go. I mean, that's the beauty of it, isn't it? I'm old school when it comes to it. I subscribe to was it Derrida's Death of the Author? Was that Jacques Derrida or was that someone else? I don't quite remember right now. But I'm a believer in the death of the author, which means, or like I subscribe to that school of thought where there's no one true meaning to a text, to a work of fiction, but rather what you, was it Barthes? It was Barthes, okay. What you interpret as a valid interpretation from the text, you as a reader see as a valid interpretation is a valid interpretation. And it doesn't matter how contradictory they are. They are all possible alternatives to each other. They are all valid and viable as interpretations. Doesn't mean the author is literally dead. Just means that once an author has written a text, no matter what their intent was, it's nearly impossible to reconstruct that intent. And even if you could, people will interpret a text in whatever way they see fit. And the author has no way of controlling how a text is going to be received. That's neither a bad nor a good thing, it's just a thing. That's kind of the idea. And so, yeah. Anything in here? Can I... Oh my god. I remember we discussed that idea for like an hour in literature class. Actually forgot about it until you just brought it up. Yeah, it's when I started my studies, it was the foundational concept on which everything else built. Currently there's a push to another direction where people are increasingly incorporating biographical aspects, where they're like trying to go through the biography of authors and then try and find links to the works that they're writing and use that as a basis for interpretation. Which a valid approach. I think especially valid and useful when it comes to novels and other works of literature that deal with historical events or with circumstances. You know, like Jewish authors, Holocaust survivors, talking about their experiences, for instance, or I don't know, war veterans, or even just, I shouldn't say just in this context, but like other less drastic things, like people growing up in poverty, and that shaping how and what they write about. Actually, funny you should say this because we're looping back to Gothic. Oh, The Crow. Yeah, I've always wanted to watch that one. I've never gotten around to it, but I always wanted to. Why is that popping into? Have you read the graphic novel? No, sadly not. I know about The Crow as a thing. I primarily know about the movie. By know about, I mean I've heard of it. Haven't seen it. Haven't read anything. If a written adaptation exists, I haven't seen the graphic novel. I literally just know it's a thing that exists. Nothing more. Well, I guess one more thing. I know it's a thing that interests me, but I'm not familiar with it. It was originally a graphic novel. Okay, that's also fairly rare, isn't it? Well, yeah, I'd say that. It's fairly rare. Like, unheard of. Very rare. Curious to see. Oh yeah, V for Vendetta, a good example, right? No. Oh shit. Yeah, just kill me then. This is very... very awkward. Did I accidentally trigger a... Okay, the stream's still running. That's good. The reason it reminded me was because The Crow is a story that, according to the author, is built almost entirely out of real-life experience. The guy that wrote it had a really tragic life, and it very much shows. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Now here's a question about that. Do you feel like... does knowing that change the impact of the story for you? Well, maybe the impact, but like... what am I really getting at? I don't know how to word it properly. Like, the story itself will make it evident that the circumstances, the lives it portrays are tragic, difficult. Does knowing that the author's life was similarly difficult, does that add anything for you? Yeah, I guess that's the question. Like, I would assume that someone who writes something like this has tragic life experience. That's part of the reason why they are writing it in the first place. Like, if I ever was to write a book about my experience as a guy with cerebral palsy, I would 100% draw from my own experiences. And the only reason I would ever write about life with cerebral palsy, as it were, is because I would at least in part want to tell my story. And so, isn't that just kind of a base assumption when you read something like that? But I don't know, it made the story feel more rooted in emotion, rather than attempting to make me feel a certain way. Like someone telling you a sad truth versus a fiction. Not sure I fully understand. Bullshit. I feel like this thing is going to kill me. Everything. No, make that second. Second was that. Of course I missed. We're still doing the beams? We're still doing it. That was very close. It was much. But yeah, I can understand that a story lands differently if you know that at least parts of it are true. I understand that. I don't know, maybe it's just... Maybe it's literally just me growing up with a different tradition of thinking about this. I'll try and explain better. So most fiction is based in reality, always derived from something, or creative inspiration or an internal emotional. There are levels of exaggeration as to how the title feel from the truth behind it. Learning about the author's life made that exaggeration almost feel like knowing. So it made it easier for you to connect with the message because you got to see that this wasn't just a work of fiction, but someone's lived reality. And knowing that made it feel more real to you, even if you did not share that experience. Simply by knowing that someone has gone through this in the matter described, which is different from you just inferring, oh, this book is describing difficult circumstances. The person who has written this probably went through difficult circumstances. It's a much more direct line between the text and what the person went through. And that means you have to do less abstract thinking about what it was like or what. Like, you don't have to try and reconstruct a real life narrative that fits the circumstances of the fiction narrative. If you know that parts of the fiction are true. I've never used this weapon before, and it's probably gonna cost me. And again, this has been a bit scuffed from the get-go. But I'll just blame it on the weapon anyway, because I can. Oh my god, there were so many. Alright. It's been almost 5 hours, which is about 3 hours more than I had intended to go for. Oh, I'm gonna end off here. I will be back next week. There won't be a stream on the weekend. Yeah, no stream on the weekend. I'm gonna be busy doing other things, and I'm gonna be busy editing as well. So that should be cool. For now,